Congratulations! We have finally made it out of the not Pogger zone. We are now in which is a good thing, because I don't hate these characters from here on out. We're going to start off with Reverse Steve, which actually was a lot lower in the beginning because I really didn't like him for a reason in an episode where he looked like Light Steve but wasn't Light Steve, and Saber said it was because he was not at full power, but he was at full power previously, and he looked normal back then, so either Saber was lying to us, or needed a reason for him to not be Light Steve, or he used that power in something we didn't see on screen, and I refuse for that to be the answer, so, I didn't like him in the past, but I'm kinda over that now. He's not that bad. He's just 3 kids in a trench coat, really, so, I can't really be mad at the kids. So, yeah, he's an now. Moving on to the Iron Golem, another Origins throwaway that I don't think had too much of a character. I have this conspiracy theory that the redstone block he had was actually stolen from the Red Steves, but, on accident he didn't know it was theirs. That's neither here nor there, though. He's an because, he didn't have much character, of course, being an Origins throwaway. Up next, we've got God Steve. Now, little funny story, when I saw the thumbnail for the next Steve Saga revival that he showed up in, I legitimately thought it was a joke and that Saber was pranking us because God Steve sounded so ridiculous. He's an because I don't hate him, but what? Don't we have enough powerful beings in the Steve Saga that keep on overpowering each other once the next one appears? First we had Rainbow, and then it was Galaxy, and then Origin, and then Alex, and now God Steve? I don't know. And besides, we didn't even get to see, if there was more to his character, because the Space Saga is over. I don't recommend it continues, but, it's over now, so I guess we never got to see what his deal was. Oh well. Up next, we've got the Infected Blue Steve. It didn't really bother me too much, but, he was kinda sexist, so... Anyway, we've got Green Steve down here. I like Green Steves, but, they're all nice and everything, but it just didn't really, resonate with me or click with me or anything. They're cool, but, not cool enough, I guess. Not to mention, their powers are pretty weak. They summon leaves? You can't even suffocate in leaves. What does that do? Now we're moving on to Diamond Steve. Now, I don't actually like the season 2 of the Steve Saga all that much. So my opinions of the characters that showed up there are a little bit tainted. But Diamond Steve, he wasn't that bad. There was that funny moment where he showed up at the door when Saber opened it. That was funny, but Emerald Steve is a little higher because we know a little bit more about him. But, I didn't really like the Ore Steves all that much, so... that's what he's down here for. Moving on to Blue Steve. For this specific Blue Steve, I'm going to refer to the one from Steve Saga Origins, because that's the one I know most about, and the one I have the most to talk about. So, he's not that bad. He had, some good information and stuff, but sometimes he could get a little annoying. He was ever so slightly manipulative over Rainbow in that one scene in the Blue Steve Saga, and I just generally don't like the way he treats Red Steves because I like Red Steves. So, he's down here. He's not that bad, but, some of his moments are not that good. Infected Green Steve. He's alright. I have the same opinions of him I do of basically every Green Steve. So, nothing really changed there. For Galaxy Saber, well, it's just Saber and Galaxy Steve. They have their own rankings. Their fusion isn't even whole, they're 2 separate people. And as for Shadow Saber, well, he's Saber, but black and white and evil. He doesn't even have a voice like he does in Rainbow Quest. He's just evil Saber. Doesn't really do much apart from being evil. Whatever. He was cool, I guess. Da 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 da! We've made it out of the general negative feeling zone. They're fine. I don't hate these characters, but I don't love them either. But I like them a little more than I did in So, we're going to start off with the Sea Guardian, or Ian. He's alright. I actually had him a lot lower down here in the past, but I don't know why. Like I said, I've rewatched Origins, and I don't hate him. He's fine. He's whatever. Next up is a scientist. I like them, but I think I would have liked them more if, we got to see more of them in the Space Saga. Of course, that didn't happen because the Space Saga is canceled. So, he's here for now. Don't say for now. I kind of don't want it to continue again. Now we have fake Saber and fake Lucas. I mean, it's a chicken and a horse. You kind of can't go wrong with that. Now we have the infected Red Steve. Like I said, I like Red Steves better than Blue Steves, so that is the only reason he is in there fine instead of eh. He doesn't do too much, actually. Moving on to the Yellow King. I thought he was cool in Origins. He's actually one of the Origins throwaways that, first of all, lasted more than, an episode. And also, he was cool. He was fine. And especially in the Steve Saga, when, Rainbow comes back to the kingdom, and he's all mad at him for destroying it, even though he wasn't the one who did that, but whose fault that is. So, yeah, I thought it was actually kind of cool. Now, Infinity, Positive, and Negative. They come as a trio, we do not separate them. I have the same general feelings for the three of them. I actually like the idea that Nightmare Steve probably experimented on, fusing different Steves together, because he's a fusion too. He's a red and yellow fusion, so it makes sense that, Positive and Negative would be red and yellow fusions. But, they didn't have too much character or whatever, but, the concept was cool, so that's why they're up here. Next, we have Chaos and Ultra Steve. They share the same spot because of the same reason Positive, Negative, and Infinity do, except they're not permafusions, so, they're down here because of my general feelings for the characters they are fused with, and instead of just, themselves, because it's just Light and Dark Steve with some rainbow splashed onto them. They had a cool fight scene, I guess. They're not really an eh because of that, and because, I like Light and Dark. The Great Librarian. Now that I think about it, there were a few non-Steves in the Steve Saga, especially in Origins. Now, the Great Librarian was kinda cool. He had a library, and I liked those, and he was able to help Saber and Galaxy. I wish he was still alive. Lucas, my main man. I kind of feel bad for putting, the real people on this list anywhere. But, I had to put him somewhere. And he is technically responsible for the reason that Light Steve is dead. Even though that's not canon anymore, I'm still mad about it. So, he's only a tier lower than Saber. Speaking of Saber, Saber in Space is different from Favor My Saber for one reason. Favor My Saber has not yet gone through Season 2, and Saber in Space has. Now, maybe it's because I'm old, but I actually wasn't a fan of the jokes in Season 2, really. They weren't necessarily funny to me, so some of that humor residue kind of stuck with him in the Space Saga series, even though in the last episode of Season 2, he realized how silly he was being. Some of the residue was still there, so that's why Saber in Space is in there fine. Yellow Steve reminds me of a 9-year-old kid, probably obsessed with Sonic the Hedgehog. That's why he's here. Because 9-year-old kids are cool, they can be a little bit annoying, but it's kind of in an endearing way, I guess. The one from Origins specifically was the one that really reminded me of a 9-year-old kid. That is an iPad kid right there. He asks you if you have games on your phone. Also, fun fact, the Yellow Steve from Steve Saga Origins is confirmed to have parents. When Blue Steve asked him if his parents were proud of him or whatever, he said yes, they are, and, he wouldn't say that if he didn't have parents unless he wanted to lie to them. Ooh, that could be a cool little angsty thing somebody does. Somebody make that. I don't want to make that because it's sad. Okay, side tangent over. Let's go on to Gold Steve. He was slightly funnier than the other two Ore Steves, so that's why he's up here instead of eh. Also, he looks like butter, so... Next up, we have Ghost Steve, who I thought was actually kinda cute. I liked him. I'd adopt him if I could, but I can't. But I would. I liked the Ghost Steve arc in the Catacombs story, so, he's up here because of the story that surrounds him and not necessarily him, even though he was cool too.